Hi everyone, welcome back. If this is your first time here, you're welcome. Today we are going to be making dinner rolls. Have you ever made bread before? Please let me know in the comment section if you have ever made bread before, and let me know how it goes. And if you have never if you have not made bread before, let me encourage you to make this dinner rolls because it's very lovely, it's very yummy. You are going to love it. So let me run you through my ingredients. So we're going to be using flour. This is white flour. You can use bread flour, any flour you want to use, but don't use wheat. This is white flour, and because there's another recipe for wheat flour. So we're also going to use milk. If you don't have milk, if you have powdered milk here, you can also use your powdered milk. And I'm going to use sugar. Yes, I use sugar once in a while, as in I have this sugar in my cupboard and I want it to go. So I'm going to use sugar, and I'm going to use cardamom as a spice. You can ignore it if you don't have. And I'm going to use yeast. Then I'm going to use salt and also butter. So these are the ingredients. You see that it's not much. And also I'm going to use egg. Sorry, I forget to put that there. So I'm also going to use egg. You can see that it's not much. It's not too complicating. It's not a recipe that will give you a lot of headache. This recipe is so simple and so easy. So I have my milk in the pan. I'm just going to heat this milk. I just want it to heat up, and I will add my butter so the butter can melt into the milk. So as you can see, the butter is already melting, and I'm melting butter and milk. So we have our melted butter and milk here, and the milk is hot, a little bit hot, so I will have to bring it down from the heat and let it cool down before I work with it. So now my milk is cooled down, is at body temperature. The temperature you need is the body temperature, just a little bit warm, not that hot. If you use hot, it's going to kill the yeast. The yeast is not going to work if you use hot water. So make sure your milk is warm. So I added my sugar, and I'm going to add the egg now. So I added my egg to my milk mixture. So I'll just give it a stir. This bread is so easy, so easy. So I'll implore you to try this bread. Now I add my yeast into my milk mixture, and I'll just give it a stir. You don't need to mix too much. We just want to activate our yeast. We want to know if the yeast is still is still good. So that's why it's always good to activate your yeast before you use it. Once you see the bubble, you know your yeast is ready. But if you did not see the bubble, if the yeast did not bubble up, that means the yeast is not good again. That means you can't use it for your bread. So don't use any yeast that is not bubble up. And if you are using instant yeast also, it's good to give it a test if your yeast is still good. But if you don't have time to give it a test, when you mix with your flour, just leave it for 5 minutes and see if it will come up. If you see that it has started reacting, then you can now cover and keep somewhere to rise. So I have my flour in here, and I'm just going to add my salt and give it a mix. So I've added my spices also, but if you are not using spices, you can just ignore it. It's not compulsory we use spices. As you can see those bubbles, that is the bubbles you need to see on your yeast before you make your bread. If you don't see that bubbles, please don't use the yeast because the bread is not going to rise. So you need to see that bubbles in your yeast before you use it. So I'm going to give it a mix. This is the only thing I'm going to do to this bread before I proof it. So we are going to mix the bread. This is the time we have to try to make so many things, since everybody is staying at home, everybody is in isolation. Why would I put that? So this is the time for you to make bread, or time for you to make homemade things for your little ones. And I know this time around they will want so many snacks, they want to eat more. So it's good to do your snacks at home, do things at home, so you will not be buying all the time. So it's very good for you. And this is not the time of going out every day. It's not the time of going out every time to get a bread. So if you try to master this recipe, it's easy for you to do your homemade bread. I'm still going to be posting more of bread recipe that you're going to love. So stick around. So now we are ready with our first proofing because I mixed my dough very well. As you can see, it's well mixed. There's no flour all around it. So that is what we want. You don't need to put all your energy into it. So I have 1 tablespoon of oil here. I will just put it on the dough because I don't want it to dry out while proofing. So we are going to do our first proofing now. I'll cover this and put it in a very heat place. If you don't have a heat place in your area, you can just put it in your oven or in your microwave, or if you have where sun rail, you can just put it close to where sun rail. So now we have our proofed dough. Let me just use dough, it's not bread now. So we have our proofed dough. So I'll just remove all the excess in the cover of the pot. I can't let that go, you know. So I just clean the cover of the pot. And the next thing we are going to do is to bring out your fist. That your big fist. Bring it out and punch it down. Put your frustration into it. Yeah, superb. As you can see, everything is, as you can see all those bubbles, that means our yeast is activated. You understand? So this is my pan. I'll be using this pan to bake my bread. I know this pan will not be enough, so I have another one at the side. So I will also put a little bit of oil in the pan plate so that I can rub it in my hand, because we need something that will not, I need it not to be sticky to my hand. You can use flour, but I don't always recommend flour when you're handling dough, because the more you add flour, the dough will be very hard. Will be hard. Let me just put it that way. Don't let me say very. Will be hard. So you don't want more flour in your dough, unless the recipe says, indicate that use extra flour. So now I will be shaping. I just want to cut out this dough into circles, so I will shape later. Just to cut it out into circle, it's very easy to cut it out. If you do it this way, it will be very easy for you to handle your dough. Just put it in the middle of your hand, in the middle of your palm, and press it up and you bring it out. So that is it. Let me show you another one. So you tuck it in, then put it in the middle of your palm and you press it. So that is it. Now this is our dough. I have all my dough ready here. I will just cover because I don't want it to dry out. So I need to cover it. Anytime you are handling dough, you are making bread, try to cover your dough so it will not dry out. Anytime you are handling dough, always cover and make do with the ones you are using. Okay, so now this is the logic. You have to pull all the side of the dough in one place so that everything will go in one place. Mash them to mash them to one side so that everything will be together. So what I will just do here is to use my palm, the side of my palm, to roll it into circle. My dear, this is very, very easy. Okay, don't think it's very hard. It's very, very easy. This is the easiest dinner rolls I've ever seen. Okay, yeah, I made that because I don't like being in the kitchen so much. I don't like staying too much in the kitchen, so I love easy recipes. I love easy things. That's why I always develop my own recipe to suit me. So this is the easiest way to make this dough. The recipe you will see all around, will put it on the counter, they will be rolling and rolling. No, that doesn't work for me. This really worked for me, okay? And I know it's going to work for you too, trust me. So just take the palm of your the side of your palm to tuck the bread in. You will have to touch the bread to tuck it in. It's very easy. I've taught so many people this logic, and they really like it. They stick to this method of mine. So yeah, as you can see, it's ready. You just pat it a little bit and that's it. So we have to give space when you are putting down your dough. There should be a very little space. So when the dough rise the second time, there will be enough space for them to rise. You give them chance to rise. So let me just do this one, and you look closely, you see that it's very easy. So you just tuck it in, bring them together. That's all you do. Just bring them together, then turn it to the other side and use the side of your palm to tuck it in. And that's it. The reason why we do that is to get the shape of the circle shape we want. That's why we do that. So you tuck it in, just tuck it in, and yeah, voila, we have our circle shape. We have our dinner rolls dough. And I will be going to make other ones. Let me just make these other ones. When we come back, you will see what they look like. So this is all this is not everything, but this is 9 out of the dough. So what I will do now is go for second proofing. So this is after second proofing. As you can see, this is the second proofing. They are all together now. They have been friends. They hold each other. They hug each other. So the next thing to do now is to brush them with egg. Here I use egg and a little bit of milk. You can use egg and water, and that makes an egg wash. So if you hear about egg wash, this is what they mean by egg wash. So you gently apply this egg wash on the bread to get that crusty, oh my goodness, that crusty top in your bread, on your bread. So I'll just brush it. You have to do this gently so that you will not punch them. The brush will not punch down the bread. It's the dough is very, very delicate, so we should be very careful when you are putting things on it. So if you have a sesame seed, you can just sprinkle a sesame seed on this, or if you have a poppy seed, you can just sprinkle it on it. But hey, let's have it plain, okay? So now we are going to bake this bread. So after baking, you come back and see our dinner rolls. So here come the beauty. Can you see? Look at my dinner rolls. So this is our dinner rolls, and I know you're going to love this when you make it. As you can see, that's very easy to make. It's something you can just do yourself. You try this once and you will get the recipe. So it's still very, very hot. This is very, very hot. As you can see, that crusty side and the crusty top and the crusty down of the bread. Oh my god, this is how I love bread to be. I grew up eating fresh bread. My paternal grandmother sells bread, so I eat fresh bread a lot, fresh from bakery. So I eat fresh bread, so I'm used to it. Now I've introduced my household to fresh bread. They really love it. We don't even like store-bought again. So this is our bread. I hope you like it. I hope it's nice. I hope it's easy for you. Don't forget to give this recipe a thumbs up if you like it, and try to go to the description box and subscribe to my channel. Click the bell button before you go, so anytime I upload a recipe, you'll be one of the first people to see my recipe. Bye.